Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Betty Intruder, welcome back to Not For Broadcast, where last time, things got, really damn real. Jeremy took his own life on air when he just couldn't take it anymore, and things have got, really damn bad. Advance is going from, yes, terrible to even worse. Lots of stuff not going well. But most importantly, we need to figure out what the aftermath is going to be of what happened with poor old Jeremy. So, okay, let's dive in and see where the bloody hell things are going next, because I'm guessing they're going to get worse before they get better. Just one day later, a tape to remember. Okay, so, yes, the family wants to have a chat, understandably, and we chose to play the tape. I.e. the tape that he wanted me to show. And yeah, that's a fun twist as well, that sure, he was sick of the government, but it turns out that very often the people in opposition are, you know, they can be arseholes too. Sometimes there's not a saviour ready to sweep in, who's, you know, an amazing person you'd be much more glad to have in their place. So, alright, seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, I didn't really have a choice. He was threatening to, you know, shoot people. Time ticks forward. We're moving towards a year since the, family developments. I assume my mum's gone by now, by the way. We never actually specifically confirmed it, but she's been in the transition centre a long time, if not. Oh, Susie's working in the transition centre. Really helping people like Grandma. Okay, yes. Are you 100% sure about this, Susie? Because I want to help people that are suffering. I don't want anyone else to have to go through what Grandma did or what we did. Okay. Susie works at the transition centre now. She might have slightly drunk the Kool-Aid, and I'm guessing we're going to stop at 365. No, we've gone over 365. Okay, a year and a week afterwards, after the election, I mean. Well, Jeremy's gone, obviously, which is a shame. He was a star. So it's going to be Megan, I assume, but who else? You'd normally need, you know, two to run the news, typically. Then again, Jeremy did it on his own for a bit there, so maybe just Megan, who was, last time we saw her, very much, you know, just pro-government. So getting the anti-government message out is going to be trickier if it's just her. The 20-week war. Oh, the war's kicked off, has it?
Alex, Bozeman, your boss. We're expecting deplorables from Disrupt to hack the signal tonight. Perhaps you could leave your personal beliefs at home and try not to let them ruin the broadcast. Even if you don't care for the government, I assume you understand you have a vested interest in us staying on the air. Stay out of the orange.
Wait, what's the orange? Where's the cocking? Okay, is this... Okay, it's cooler now. That's nice. Right, activate all things.
Ask you to keep it light.
What does that mean?
It means do that thing you do where you turn politicians into humans. Just don't get drawn into talking about the war or politics in general, really.
They do know this is the news, don't they?
You didn't hear this from me, but...
Oh.
People are scared to speak.
Apparently, there's a crew at Team HQ right now. I think she's giving a speech or something tonight. They'll get it on the late news.
Oh, great. So they get the brains and we get the performing monkey.
What are these buttons?
Sometimes you sound just like him, you know?
Oh, Jeremy's death might have won her over.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I miss him too, you know.
10 seconds, everybody.
I'm not putting out the propaganda. No, no, no.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
I don't know what these buttons do. No one said what the buttons do.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of Heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Sadly, however, more casualties were reported today, and as the weeks and months of this war make ever more demands on our armed services, those numbers will, tragically, only continue to rise. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. However, with the reported rise in mental and physical health issues since the imposition of the blockade, critics have questioned whether those smaller communities which are only now starting to receive help could have been better and quicker served. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. With dwindling medical supplies leaving many of our most vulnerable facing chronic pain, it can come as no surprise that the transition centres have found themselves stretched to capacity. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from Advance. Start me up. Disrupt spokesman Alan James held an impromptu rally today in the northern city of MacLeod. Large crowds gathered to hear the band speaker prove Disrupt are still able to capture the public's imagination. Community cohesion officers found themselves challenged by the unruly mob element always present at Disrupt events, but thankfully managed to keep violent incidents to a minimum. And finally, absent friends. Sad news today as the grave of former National Nightly News host Jeremy Donaldson is vandalised by radical Disrupt activists. The much-loved broadcaster suffered a very tragic public breakdown 10 weeks ago in an incident which ultimately cost him his life. Disrupt spokesman Alan James, whose organisation last week named Mr Donaldson as the cause's first martyr, described the graffiti as a fitting tribute to a hero of the resistance. But first this evening, with the war about to enter its 21st punishing week and people hurting up and down the country, I'll be grilling unpredictable Prime Minister Peter Clement in an exclusive interview from his home in Lancashire. That's coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Okay, we've got new titles and everything. Now where's this orange we need to avoid if we want the signal to be hacked? Potentially that could be, of interest.
In part 2, I'm a little overexcited to announce I'll be interviewing the one and only Lil C. And later we've got a new feature that's sure to keep you coming back for more. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's speaking to us from his home in Lancashire.
And she'll be swearing, of course.
Good evening, Prime Minister. Have we caught you exercising?
Have we started? Yes, that's right, Miss Wolf. Just a few minor adjustments. I mean, nothing drastic. I haven't joined the gym or anything. As my old man used to say, just because she won't take it up the shit, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try for a quick fiddle up the car park.
Language, Prime Minister. Language, Prime Minister.
What? Quick fiddle? What's wrong? Oh, shitter. It's shitter, isn't it? Yep, that's the one.
And can you tell us what brought about this near you?
Okay, hang on.
Well, Mrs. C and I were watching, the night the blockade began. When Jeremy Donaldson
stuck around. And I did something
Well,
I
you
would
know.
never have done in my old life. I listened. Jean, who told me that although she has financial security for her and her family for the first time in her life, she finds also, for the first time, that she can no longer sleep peacefully at night. I listened to Clive, who is preoccupied by the worry of being a burden on his children, and counting the days until they sit him down and tell him he is exactly that. I listened to Anna, who spends her lunchtimes in the school cafeteria eating alone, because she is the only girl in her class who isn't a go-getter. They have never met, these three, and they are of different ages and social backgrounds, but they share a common experience. They share a nagging feeling that there is something deeply wrong in our utopia. And I share that feeling. And maybe you do too. In the days and weeks ahead, I will be speaking throughout the country, But you don't need to wait for me. Disruptor everywhere. Every bar, every street corner. Look for us and you will find us. You are not alone. And Advance are not the only...
I think I just censored something I wasn't actually broadcasting, but okay.
Oh, yeah. Also, it doesn't seem very advanced to be going abroad when grounded.
And yet, Julia Salisbury announced today that she'll be visiting Svenland during this year's winter break. Is that really an example of team spirit?
What? Did you know about this, Gail?
No one tells me anything, Peter. You should know that. Why don't you know?
Alright, back over to him. This seems much more
It says on
worthy.
this card that a body like yours must take some
He tried to
planning
warn us all about the now abandoned top-secret military lab at Grantham Downs. We may never know exactly what was being done there, but Jeremy Donaldson made us look. And this is just one of the reasons he is considered Disrupt's first martyr. And you know what? I think there's every chance he'd hate that. I only met him a few times in a professional context, and usually he exposed me for the grandstanding fool I was back then, but for some reason I always enjoyed it. I liked him. I liked his wit, his jagged edges, and most of all, I liked his total dedication to the truth. He died for that truth. Died as an individual, for freedom. And by adorning his resting place with our colours and our emblem, we will help to keep both him and the spirit of relentless
Oh, sorry, Bozeman. Total mistake.
alive. That's well, Jeremy.
Well, that's good. That's good to know, Prime
You
Minister.
know, I used to really like you, Pat. You were a breath of fresh air. But I've been watching you, and you know what? You get more every day.
What's going on here?
I will take that as a compliment. Prime Minister, later on this evening, your co-leader Julia Salisbury is going to give a national address from team headquarters. Can you give us a hint of what she's going to say?
Yes. Well, I imagine that there
Sorry,
will be
sorry, you
the
imagine?
usual. No, what I mean is.
You do know about this broadcast, don't you, Prime Minister?
I'm sure I did. But Julia and I have no secrets from each other. We don't memorize each other's bloody diaries either. As my old mum used to say, if you wanted to get a job done quick, don't get bogged down in the pubes. What else you got?
Sorry?
Only cards, what else? A little piece of my life, do you want to rustle through? Get out, refill my glass. Sir. Ah, come on. Come on.
Okay. What music do you listen to when you work out?
Well, Gail tells me that I work out to Lil C, but I have absolutely no fucking idea who that is. And do you think the C stands for...
It stands for collaborative, Prime Minister.
Yeah, actually, that does make more sense, actually.
How's rationing affecting you?
It's hard, but we get by. You just have to learn to get by on the basics. Take comfort in each other. I've got Mrs. C and many a fine single malt. I want for nothing.
Except for a decent night's sleep, of course.
So he's been frozen out.
Prime Minister, thank you for joining us. When we come back, it's time for the Culture Spot with Lil C and a world premiere performance of her new song. I genuinely can't wait to hear that. We'll be back after this.
Which advert? Siege Survival!
1 minute back, everybody. I don't think Hi, I'm Sophia Rimington, the CEO of Rimington's Fist, and I've been paying attention. The blockade around your country has left people struggling to find just the basics. So where on earth are you supposed to go for the other essentials? The things that make life worth living. What uncivilized? I read books.
I positively loathe these sanctions, Jane. I can't remember the last time we boiled a duck à l'orange.
I concur absolutely, Brian. There's barely enough milk to undermine the tea.
George,
You'll no doubt have spotted the updated mixing desk. You'll need the new buttons during the next sections. First, we'll need applause when the guest enters and before her song. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
So low.
One is certain, a preferable way exists.
And you'd be right. We've had our biggest and best brains working on this for months, and we've got you covered with the Remington Swiss Siege Survival Box. Inside every blockade-busting box, you'll find the things you really missed. A red wine where you can hardly taste the chemicals. Some rare meat we brew in our production laboratory. Chocolate so salty, you'd believe it came from Svenland. The list of luxuries is endless, at least 7. And we've even added a random twist. One in every 100 boxes will contain
A golden flood!
Looks like they just got lucky. Remington Swiss Siege Survival Boxes. So good you'll believe they were made somewhere else. Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful Susie May in All My Daughter's Children's Men, before taking the music industry by storm this year with her debut album smashing the chart records at the age of just 20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C!
That's the start of excellent work.
May I just say, you look incredible.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
What's the regime?
And my manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in like cabbage water and then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Oh, well, look at me, Meg. The leaves are my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a super fan, so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face Together, it hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what was that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that, like, annoying little girl from that show to that, like, sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really, it was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Oh, of course. I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Short. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
There's nothing that strange about it, Megan. Okay, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
Uh-huh. So, this newfound explosion into your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing, like, nice underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as my manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So, what's the album about?
So I thought it was about, like, how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetizing youth, I think, or about, like, promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again?
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Oh, do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dance soon and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yeah, it's from my album Put It In My A Together and it's out tomorrow.
I'm going to be honest, I kind of want her to keep going.
Soon,
Sorry to disrupt.
Oh yeah, I've actually released 2 albums since lunchtime and a clothing line during this interview. See, this is called Cry for Help and it's going to be in all the best high street and retailer shops and it's out now. So girlies, you know what to do. Scream and cry until somebody gets it for you.
Ooh. There she goes. Blimey. All these projects, they're keeping you very busy, aren't they? It must be tough.
Yeah, it can get tough and I hate it sometimes and I hate myself. I just want to like cry into a bath of root veg. But then I think thousands of girls would do anything to be me, so I must be quite lucky.
Well, you know you don't have to do this though, don't you?
Yeah, I do think that sometimes. Most nights between like my 4th vodka and the 8th time a stranger slaps me around the arse. I think things could have been different, you know, like better. But I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I'd sit in front of the radio, and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I'd press record on my cassette, but then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practising again.
Sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough, and sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, make Quagler proud and you might just survive childbirth.
Well, you know what, despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it,
So, it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. But you know what, it's actually all right. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then, well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Oh, so here is Lil C with an exclusive first performance of her new track, These Babies Gonna Bring You Home. Take it away.
It's the Force's favorite, the queen of teams, here to break in your blockades, Lil C.
Oh no.
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing, only you can fill that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here, boy, I got no agenda. Just want the team in me, no dirty foreign member. Don't stop no morning drill, there's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So let them try and break our dream. We fight and love and die at two. So what a Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy. I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions. I've been this wild and free since my mom burdened me. She was only 53, but gave to save her family. There's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So what a Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy and flip me over, grab my hair, rip off my clothes and dump them there. I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions.
Well, that was nightmarish in every way possible.
Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Lil C for doing that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
Oh, that's going to be a nightmare too.
And we're out.
When my husband became CEO of Pleasurecore, I wondered what the advantages would be for me. Well, now I'm aboard the SS Fun Ship for a holiday so good I'm being paid to sing about it. If you can be me now. adventure cruise, seeing several sights and drinking copious booze. I'd like my friends from work to take a good look at the cheapest hangover, cause you can book. All I can say is, hey, now this is the life, just like the brochures say. You can cheat on your wife.
This next section will lead you to use all the sound effects to help mix along. Try and pick the most appropriate one in each given moment. The actors can't hear what you're doing, so they'll be trusting you to make the right choices.
If you could be me now out on a foreign shore, sounding every crack and with my butt burn roar, I've left the kids back home so I can really unwind on the cheapest cruise liner ever designed. All I can say is bam, just look where you are. A cabin built on wham, here comes the Meteor. It's the best ship, oh yes ma'am. We never deceive ya, and the court says there's no scam.
Due to the ongoing military blockade, some destinations may differ from those pictured in this advertisement, as the cruise now mainly takes place around St. Family.
I'm pretty sure I own stock in that company too.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now the wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show, we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent, and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer, director, and phenomenon, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys.
Actually, I've dropped the algebra. I go by Jeff DePlume now. How'd you like that?
Yeah, very fancy. I suppose you need a new name now that you're a successful artiste.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
It's shit.
And how does Angela feel about all this? Your wife. Your wife.
Oh, God, no. No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
And why did you write this? What was your inspiration?
Oh, well, I received a telephone call offering me 25 grand to write a pro-team sitcom. And I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, you listen here, boy. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this. So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking. Utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
Surely you're not this stupid, Alex.
I just felt like booing. Sorry, postman.
That's much better. Keep going like that and you'll do fine.
Good morning, Miss Craven.
Oh, morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They've vandalised my shop again.
No!
Yes! They've written all sorts of obscene language and crude pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar at closing time.
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community. What if they never see the error of their ways and end up as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bong rats?
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock. See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yes, yes. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh! I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
It's a letter from my granddaughter, Brenda. She says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her.
Boom.
Was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers?
Oh, it's the villain.
Oh, no. It's Brad. He's the coolest guy in the village.
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
What? Rad dudes?
No, ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to pin my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What? Did you say tutoring?
That's right. Maths is very important. Would you mind, Bray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey, I haven't huffed glue for months.
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy.
So it wasn't you who vandalised my shop last night or called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way. It can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there? I thought for a minute there that you said Brenda.
I did, you daft old sow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Oh, yes, what a wonderful surprise. I now respect you as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck?
Uh-oh. What the? What? Oh, I think the war might have just arrived. Did we just get nuked? I feel like there might be about to be a small... Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm feeling like this is about to be bad for me. But like mushroom cloud bad or just there's no power bad? Fix the thing.
Breaking episode of the notice board, but we are receiving some breaking news. I'm being told we're picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be... Oh God, what appear to be nuclear explosions in 4 major cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. I'm being told we're experiencing power fluctuations as a result, so apologies for any interruption to this broadcast for you at home. And apparently we can head over to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury any moment now. Yep, yes, let's go to that now.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world. Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives simultaneously in 4 major cities across the continent. We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres and will not hesitate to detonate them if our conditions are not met in full and without delay.
What?
And without delay. The people of our territory will no longer tolerate your illegal and genocidal blockade. You are to remove it immediately. We will accept nothing less than your unconditional surrender. Your territories will be taken under our control. We will install replacement governments to ensure that your citizens become part of the new future. Your borders are now our borders. Your people are our people.
Okay, what's going on down here?
Will finally be fed and clothed and educated.
You have to know what's being done. What's being done right now to our neighbours. This is unprecedented. Our government has committed multiple acts of mass destruction in our name.
Crystal, if you fire a single shot at our territory,
Nor do I care how you voted. You didn't vote for this. None of us did. This can't be. We are waiting further news and, oh, God. What if they respond?
So that'll be what's in the bunker. Nukes.
we will expect your complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of what Jeremy would say if he were here now. He was always sceptical of advance. Then I suppose he was always sceptical about everything. That's part of what made him so frustrating to work with. And so brilliant. I'm not going to lie, Jeremy, I really wish you were here now. You'd know what to say. You'd know how to bring everyone together. And I don't think you'd be angry. I think you'd see that anger was the engine that brought us here. I think you'd want us to stop, to look around us at the people and things we're so very lucky to have, and to realise what a privilege it is just to be alive. I think you'd want us to spare a thought for those with loved ones who are abroad tonight. And I think you'd be worried about retaliation, but you wouldn't show it. You'd remind us that this country and its people endure. You'd remind us that despite the way you hated how it sounds, we are a team. And I think you'd ask us to go to our loved ones and be with them tonight. But I don't have the words that you had, Jeremy. None of us do. My name's Megan Wolfe. Let's make tomorrow better.
I'm so sorry, but we're about to cut to a comedy sketch.
And we're out. He'd have loved it. Yeah, you would have done, your old bastard.
Oh. I think the power might have just gone. Okay, so things just got quite heavy there, actually, with, yes, Jeremy and now nukes. Apparently, yes, that was what was going on in that secret bunker. New weapons of mass destruction. So that's not good. Advance is now on the march. Okay, good. I'm glad we turned on them, 100% before the nukes started dropping. Oh, and coming up next time...
This is Alan James. The revolution starts tonight, Alex. And we need your help.
We're so proud to be here today on this, the 500-day anniversary of the...
It's time to choose. Alex, whose side are you on?
That's not a difficult choice anymore.
deserve a good, nutritious meal in these difficult times.
But before we go, one final thought.
I mean, I'm not sure who's actually still, on... Jeremy? What? He shot himself on screen! How can he... What? So, that's episode 2. They just confirmed there in the dev update, yes. They don't know when episode 3 is going to be because here in the UK we're back in lockdown. So they do not know precisely when there's going to be any more, or whether there might be, like, a bonus thing to tide us over. But, okay. I mean, this is... Not for broadcast, is a bloody roller coaster. Because, like, it goes between weird, dark, surreal comedy to moments of real sadness and poignancy, just randomly, with the adverts on one side and the main bits on the other, and, I mean, it's dark as flip, I love it. Okay, so that went some places. Right, episode 3 is going to be the finale. I don't know when we're going to get it, but I can't wait to see how this ends, because apparently Jeremy might somehow be coming back, which is... Okay, so basically, yes, soon as we can, I'll be bringing you some more of this. If there's any more bonus episodes, we'll see them too, but bloody hell, this is such good stuff. More to come as soon as possible. Hopefully, you are looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Not For Broadcast. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Oh no! Oh dear! America's decided they do not like us! Just want to finish off China. I can die happily. Well, not happily because there's nuclear fire involved, but moderately happily. There we go! I've just started... Oh god. The Earth was fun, wasn't it? We can all agree the Earth was great.